Getting used to these boots, which, by the way, I would like to clarify, are not Vertigo, because I'm stupid. I don't even know what I buy. They are Roar, CD Roar boots. Moto dork. Well, it's a little cloudy today. In fact, it's a lot cloudy. And, but you know what? That's not going to stop me. It's not going to stop me. I'm going to ride. It's riding time. You know, like clobbering time for the thing. It's riding time. It's not too cold. It's a little cool. It's in the mid 50s, I think. It's not bad. Not bad at all. I can handle it. Getting used to these boots, which, by the way, I would like to clarify, are not Vertigo, because I'm stupid. I don't even know what I buy. They are Roar, CD Roar boots. There's two R's on the end. I figure I have to say it like that. So from now on, if I ever mention the boots I have there, that's what I'm going to say. They're CD Roar. I know, it sounds ridiculous. Okay. So I mentioned in my last video that we would talk about Laserdiscs. By golly, that's what we're gonna do. I know you've been waiting, you know, with bated breath. And it's gonna be so awesome. Now listen, I don't know everything about Laserdiscs or players or the technology. I don't know everything. I know some things. I know some things. You know, not everything. So, Laserdisc. You know, in the 80s and 90s, it was the premium format. You know, it was the format where you got all the perks. You know, extended cuts, director's cuts, so to say. You know, extra footage, outtakes, documentaries. Sometimes, you know, you got inserts with write-ups by the director, behind-the-scenes photos, that sort of thing. And but the thing is, you paid a premium for them. You really did. Like I said, I've got dozens of titles on Laserdisc that I still watch to this day. I'll pull them out, watch them, still enjoy them. Some of my favorites that I have, you know, I have the first 6 of the original Star Wars movies. I'm sorry, Star Trek movies. You know, 1 through 6. I have the original theatrical release versions of Star Wars on Laserdisc. These are letterboxed. No frills, it's just the movie. Nothing extra with it. Pretty sure I paid $70 each for those at Disc Jockey Records in Lexington, Kentucky in 92, 93. Yeah. Just went up there, bought all 3 of them. Saw them, said I wanted them, took them. Paid for them. I paid for them. I didn't just take them. I ain't no thief. Still have those, still watch them. I've got the X-rated version of RoboCop. It's Criterion Collection Edition. I say X-rated because, of course, Paul Verhoeven's film RoboCop was originally given an X rating by the MPAA due to excessive scenes of violence. This version has those scenes added back in. And, you know, by 1987 standards, I guess they were pretty violent. Pretty cold and violent, but by today's standards, they're really nothing at all. But it's still interesting to see the film as it was originally made and, you know, envisioned. Got a box set of Terminator 2. And you want to talk about, I mean, of all the movies, box sets I've got on Laserdisc, that's the biggest one right there. Well, that one or Jaws, one or the other. It's kind of a toss-up, I guess. But if I had to say, you know, one or the other, I'm going to go with Terminator 2 because it really has so much more supplemental material in the set. I mean, good Lord, first of all, you get a version of the movie that wasn't the theatrical release, you know, is the original director's cut of the movie. And there are just chapter after chapter after chapter of supplemental material. And the thing about Laserdisc was a lot of that material you read on the screen. There's a couple of buttons on your remote that say step, and those things will advance forward 1 frame at a time. So there'll be 1 frame paused on the screen. You read the material on it, you hit the step button, and it's like turning the page of a book. It goes to the next page. Now, for people today with limited amounts of, you know, focus and patience, that probably wouldn't go over very well. But back then, I mean, that was awesome. Awesome stuff. Just amazing stuff. Yeah, still getting over my cold, by the way, in case you hadn't noticed. I apologize. That box set just has everything. Purchased that box set on New Year's Day 1994 at Easttown Mall in Knoxville, Tennessee. Paid $120 for it. The Jaws Signature Series box set that I have retailed for $250. $250. $250. I bought it brand new on eBay for, I think, $99. Still a lot of money, but at a $150 discount, I'll take it. But Laserdisc, I love that format. And yeah, it's a dead format. You know, nobody makes Laserdiscs anymore. Nobody makes players anymore. As far as I know, I think the last company that made Laserdiscs players was Pioneer. I think Pioneer was the holdout for several years. But I bought my first player in 1992. I bought it at Lazarus. It was a floor model. It was a demo model. So I got it. So it wasn't brand new in the box, but it was new you know, as far as I was concerned and as far as warranty was concerned, you know, full warranty on it. It had just been used for demoing, you know, on a shelf there. But it was a Sony MDP-50, great little player. You know, it played 3-inch CDs, normal size CDs, CDVs. It played 8-inch Laserdisc and 12-inch Laserdisc. So it played all the formats at the time. And loved that player. That player lasted me from 92 until until 98, when I sold it to a friend. The great thing about that player that I loved so much was it had a jog shuttle dial on the face of the player and on the remote. The remote itself had a jog shuttle dial, which made, you know, forward and reverse and speed ups and slowdowns, you know, real easy. I don't know why all Laserdisc player manufacturers did not put those on their players and remotes. I'll never know why. Jog shuttle dial, greatest thing ever as far as Laserdisc go. I guess it was a big thing for Sony too, because I also had a VHS tape deck, or VHS or, you know, recorder, player recorder, a VCR, a Sony VCR that also had a jog shuttle dial on the face of the player and on the remote. You know, and that's just VHS. That player had power supply issues, though. It wasn't a very good player, even though I paid $600 for it. Not very good. Would not recommend. If you ever see one at Goodwill. I can't remember the model of it. But Laserdisc. Bought that Laserdisc player, took it home, you know, started buying Laserdiscs, realized they were really expensive, but, you know, who cares? I'm gonna buy them anyway, because it's a premium format, and I'm all about premium formats. Like I said, had that player for years. Sold it to a friend. In 1998, I sold it to a friend, and the reason I did that was because, well, the main reason was DVDs were coming out. DVDs were starting to come out. And I remember one day going to Suncoast Video before DVDs came out and talking to the guy at Suncoast about Laserdisc and DVD, because I think I was purchasing Monty Python and the Holy Grail on Laserdisc. And this guy and I started talking about DVDs. And I fancied myself as somebody who was in the know about this stuff. And this guy was talking about how great DVDs are going to be. And I was saying, nah, it can't be better than Laserdisc. It can't get any better than a, you know, digital picture. You know, digital is digital. It can't get any better than that, right? I mean, of course, I knew nothing at that time. Nothing. I was so stupid. And I'm not afraid to say that. I got no shame in saying I was stupid. I'll say it if I'm wrong. And I was wrong. And he scoffed at me. I'm sure when I left, he just kind of shook his head and thought, what a moron. Yeah, I was a moron. Because now I know more about the technology of Laserdisc. And he was right. You know, the video encoded on a DVD is in a file format, you know, and it is higher definition than a Laserdisc. Laserdisc 640 by 480. Now, there were some high definition Laserdiscs made, and some players to play those discs. They are incredibly expensive. Incredibly. Well, you go on eBay and look for them today, you'll pay $900, $1,000 for one movie. And just, that ain't my bag. Not going to do that. I'll stick with the standard definition. Yeah. So, yeah, so, you know, DVD came out in 98, thereabouts. And I thought to myself, you know, I really, because by this time I'd kind of decided I was going to be into DVDs. So, but I also had already a ton of Laserdiscs, and I didn't want to give those up. I didn't want to stop watching them. You know, I wanted to keep them and continue enjoying them. So one day I was in an high-end audio video store in Lexington called Ovation, which doesn't exist anymore. And it's a shame, because that was a great store. You know, they sold stuff like Lexicon and Martin Logan and the like. So these boots are really starting to feel a little better. Plus, I didn't tighten them down in the calves as much this time. So I think it's better. Plus, I don't have my pants stuck down in them. Now, I'm going to have to with the leather pants. They have to tuck into them, and that's fine. Anyway, I'm digressing. I was in Ovation, and guess what they had? They had the Pioneer DVL 909. And you know what that is? Yeah, that's the DVD/Laserdisc combo player. Oh yeah. With a $1,200 price tag. Yep. So what did I do? I whip out the credit card. I buy it right then and there. Because at this time, in 98, at that time, I think Pioneer was already the only company still making Laserdisc players. Because I already had Titanic. This is in 98. Titanic came out in 97. I already had Titanic on Laserdisc. Already had it. So yeah, I bought that bad boy. Never looked back. Whipped out the card, paid for it, took possession of it, took it out to the car, put it in the car, immediately drove across the road, well, not really directly across the road, kind of, down the road a little bit, then across, to Best Buy. Went right to their DVD rack. Now, in 98, Best Buy's DVD rack was an end cap. They had rows and rows and rows of VHS. Of course, you know. And of course, at this time, you know, we were all witnessing the death of VHS. But they had a handful of movies on DVD, on an end cap, one end cap. So I bought my first DVD. Now I'll, as a side note, my wife at the time was not home that weekend, so this made it easier. So I bought my first DVD, which was Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. Again, paid for it, never looked back. Went home, hooked up the new, improved Laserdisc player to my television, and enjoyed all that DVD had to offer. Yes, indeedy. And it was awesome. Keep in mind, of course, Austin Powers was recorded on a single layer DVD, you know, DVD 5. You know, there was no such thing as dual layer DVDs at that time. And later, when dual layer DVDs came out, I discovered a flaw in my Laserdisc player, and that was that it had a little bit of a problem playing dual layer DVDs. When that layer change happened, a few minutes later, things would start to pixelate on the screen, and all of a sudden it would just grind to a halt. And I'd have to restart it, and then it would be okay. But every time, just couldn't do it. I understand there was a firmware update to fix that. I never got it. I just bought myself another DVD player at that point. I'd already gotten plenty of use out of the DVD player aspect of the Laserdisc player, and to be honest, you know, it's just cheaper and easier to buy, you know, an off-the-shelf DVD player and then just go back to using the DVL 909 strictly for Laserdisc, which is what I went and started doing. And it's worked fine ever since. And I still use it to this day. That thing is still chugging right along to this day. Now, there was a little blip. The switching power supply went dead on it. But I found another one in China, ordered it, installed it myself, worked like a charm. Working no problemo, as the Terminator would say. So, the first time I ever saw a Laserdisc player, pretty sure it was in mid-80s, early to mid-80s, at Lowe's of all places. The Lowe's in Danville actually was selling Laserdisc players, and they had one on display. And I remember looking at that thing and thinking, holy crap, this is the future. This is the future. I'm going to have one of these someday. And by golly, I did. But why? Why Laserdisc? Well, because it's digital. Or at least that's what I always thought. Later in life, I learned that, yes, the audio is digital. You know, you can have Dolby Digital, AC3, all that stuff from Laserdisc. But the video, believe it or not, is analog. The video is actually an FM signal converted to a video stream. The pits are read by the laser, interpreted as an FM signal, and then converted to a video stream. I know, it's weird, but it works, and it works beautiful. Really does. Like I said, you know, I would not trade this thing for anything. I love it. So formats, you know, there are two different formats for recording and encoding data on a Laserdisc. There's CAV and CLV. CLV will let you record more data per side. However, on older units, you could not do freeze frame with CLV. When played back, your counter on the front of the panel will read back in minutes, seconds, and hours. In CAV format, which stands for constant angular velocity, CLV, constant linear velocity, constant angular velocity, or CAV, I don't think you can record as much data on one side, I think. However, features like freeze frame, cue and review, those things work on older units in CAV format. Now, on newer units, they employ digital memory to give you freeze frame and cue and review capabilities, even on CLV discs, on newer units. But CAV is the preferred premium format, as it also gives the picture more of a film-like look. And it's also read in a frame-by-frame method. You watch the counter on the front of your player, it'll read back frame by frame, not hours, minutes, and seconds. And, you know, something else about my DVL909, my old Sony MDP-50, you know, one of the drawbacks of Laserdisc is flipping the disc over, or changing discs when you're done watching this disc. It is a major drawback. Newer players fix that, such that, for example, my old Sony MDP-50 player would only play one side at a time. When this side's done, you had to pop the disc out, flip it over, and play side 2. Then when that side's done, pop it out, take the disc out, put it in disc 2. Well, my new DVL909, I say new, you know, even though it's 20 years old, my new DVL909 has a special mechanism that the laser transport is in that allows you to play both sides of the disc without taking the disc out. Essentially, the disc mechanism, the disc transport, is in a special mechanism that's on rails, and when it's time to play side 2, it rolls back or slides back on these rails. The disc, the laser transport flips over, then it rides back on its rails underneath. It goes down, it rides back on its rails underneath the disc and plays the other side. Pretty nifty to watch too. You take the cover off and watch it. It's really nifty. So that at least lets you watch an entire disc without having to, you know, take it out. So, yeah, that's of really all drawbacks there are with Laserdisc. That's the biggest one. You know, flipping the disc or changing discs. I have yet to see a Laserdisc player that can hold 2 discs. Maybe there is one out there. I've never seen one. I mean, if you know of one, let me know in the comments. But anyway, you want to know why I love Laserdisc players and Laserdiscs? That's why. It's all that stuff. It's just such a wonderful format. And to be honest with you, Leonard Nimoy was a huge fan of the format, and if Leonard Nimoy liked it, that's good enough for me. Live long and prosper. See you guys later. Oh, by the way, even though I just said see you guys later, I lied. By the way, something I haven't been saying in my videos, I'm gonna say it now. If you're watching this video and you like it, or if you got a chuckle, or if you like my city, roar, boots. not really that. Subscribe. Or smash that subscribe button. And hit that little bell too. That way when I upload my dorky videos, you'll know about it. Okay, see you guys later.